Greetings. I'm Pastor Blaine from Rules Church. This past Sunday, we looked at the passage in the Gospels from Mark chapter 12, verse 28 to 34. Now, if that doesn't automatically trigger something for you or ring a bell for you, there's a good chance that reading it would. Because here is where we find Jesus talking with the teacher of the law who asks him a question, and Jesus replies. The question was, which is the greatest of the commandments? Jesus replies that you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind and your strength. And then he goes beyond that, and he says that the second is this, that you should love your neighbor as yourself. We talked about how this meant that we are to love God with all that we are, with our whole being, every part of us. And that means then, in turn, you really need to do something about it. We demonstrate love. We actually love by loving, by doing something. And so the personal question that we ended on was, how are you doing? How close are you? Because Jesus told the teacher that he was close. So we ask ourselves, how close are we? Now, another thing that I'd like to mention here today. Jesus said that the second commandment was that we should love our neighbor as ourselves. Love your neighbor as yourself. Now, we did touch on this a little bit on Sunday. We noted that this is a very, very high standard. You think about the way that you act toward other people, you really need to consider what you will do for them using yourself as the reference. What would you like someone to do for you? That's a pretty high standard for most people in most things. But two things that I didn't say, and I'd like to just touch on really quickly here. First of all, that means doing for others as you would have them do for you, doing for others as you would have done for you, even if you don't get what you wish you would. You get what I'm saying there? It's not that we are tit for tat. It's not that we do for others because they do for us. It's not we do for others when they do for us. We do for others as we would have done for ourselves. No matter if we receive the experience, the treatment, whatever it might be that we would wish for ourselves, we still do for others. And then secondly, that neighbor bit. That doesn't mean that you love others as you love yourself and you would do for them as you would have done for yourself. That doesn't mean that we do that with just a couple people, the people that live close by. Remember, Jesus taught in Luke chapter 10, verse 29 to 37, the parable of the Good Samaritan. And there we find out that a neighbor is really anyone we come across who is in need. So, loving neighbor really means loving all, or potentially loving all, especially those with the greatest of needs, or loving all people, especially in their need, maybe when it's the most difficult to love or when it requires the most of us. You can see by this, you think about this, there won't be any coasting here in the way that we treat others, will there be? And there's no coasting, there's no easy ride here any more than there is where God is concerned. We were to love God with all of our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength. Well, that's all for now. That's all from this past Sunday. I hope that you will join us this coming Sunday, the fifth Sunday of Lent, where we will be looking at Mark chapter 13, 1 through 25. And I really want to encourage you, read this ahead and think about it. There is a lot to digest in there, and not the normal stuff that we think about when we are in the season of Lent, when we're approaching Easter, when we're thinking about our sins. There's some tough stuff in there. So take a little time to look that over. Come join us on Sunday morning to worship together at 8 o'clock or 10:30 for traditional or contemporary worship. Until then, be blessed.